Are trickling in, but we're going to get started. This is Al Morrison. He's doing our webinar this morning, starting your own business. My name is Laura. I'm going to send you guys an email later with the slide decks. So you have a copy of it, and so you can use it as a reference. If you have any questions during this, you can put it in the chat. You can raise your hand if you want to speak, or you can even do the Q&A. So with that, we're going to get started. So Al, you can take it away.
Thank you so very much. As Laura said, we really encourage questions. That's how you learn what you want to know. And I'm betting if you have a question in your mind, that at least one other person in the group has the same question. So please ask questions as we go along. This is starting your own business, and it's a very, did I say very? High level on what things you need to think about as you begin to start to think about starting your own business. So it's very high level. If you'd like to ask questions, we can go a little more depth on anything you'd like. And we have webinars on other things too that you can attend. So if this is your first time, this is a great place to start. If you're returning, welcome back. So let's begin. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about SCORE. So that's my 30-second commercial. We're going to talk about small business and why it's important to America. How do you get started? What about business planning? Some of the financials, and what do you do next? So you can leave here with a to-do list, which is the what do you do next? So SCORE has a mission to foster small businesses. And we do that through two things. We do it through one-on-one mentoring, and we do it through education. And education is what you're participating in right now. Our vision is, this is very aspirational, that every person has the support necessary to thrive. Every person. We've been around since 1964. We haven't reached every person yet, but we're working on it. And we do it, one person at a time, day by day. SCORE is a national organization. It's a resource partner of the SBA, the Small Business Administration. We have over 10,000 volunteers spread over 220 chapters across the US. And surveys show that our clients have much more improved chances of success. And in the 12 years I've been with Akron SCORE, we have never lost a business that I know of. And in 12 years, I've never lost a business that somebody wanted to start. So having a mentor will increase your chances of being successful dramatically. Locally, we serve a 5-county area: Summit, Medina, Wayne, Portage, and newly added Mahoning County. And since 1965, when we started, we're one of the early chapters. We've helped over 10,000 clients. And we bring new clients in at the rate of about 12 a week, 52 weeks out of the year. So it averages about 12, sometimes a little north of 12. So we help an awful lot of people get started in their business, grow their business, help their business get better, become more effective, more efficient, more competitive. And we'll work with you anywhere you want, from the time it's a glimmer in your eye until the time you're making so much money you throw us out. As I said, we do two things. We do counseling, mentoring, consulting, coaching, pick a term that you like. I like the term coaching best, because as a great coach, we never touch the ball. We'll design the plays, we'll help you run the plays, we'll talk about the plays, but we actually won't ever touch the ball. That's your job as a small business owner. So we do that by Zoom, we do it on the phone, we do it face-to-face. And all of our mentors have real world experience. They've actually run pieces of businesses or businesses themselves. And sometimes we get a client, they have a question, we answer the question and they're happy. I have 3 clients that I've been working with for the last 12 years that I've been in SCORE. We meet maybe once every couple of 6 months, sometimes once a year, but we stay in touch, and just to make sure their business is thriving. The workshops we offer, we call them workshops. They're actually training programs, and we've done most of them online since COVID. Starting your own business, we're doing right now: business planning, financial management, Google Analytics, marketing, not-for-profit basics, QuickBooks. You can find a list of these that we're running currently by going to www.akron.score.org for whatever our schedule is. And you can register right there online. As you find a class that you like, register right then and there. If you want to have a mentor, Again, you can find us through akron.score.org, or you can call our office at 330-379-3163, and Laura will answer, or somebody will answer, and hook you up with a mentor or coach or advisor or consultant, whatever term you like best. Okay. If people have no questions about SCORE itself, let's talk about small business. Small business is a really, really important economic engine in the US. There are over 27 million small businesses in the US. When you think about the Fortune 500 or the Fortune 1000, this number of small businesses dwarf the number of large businesses. Over 500,000 are started new every year. And when you look at the Federal Employer Identification Number, the EIN, 99.8% of all businesses in the US are small. They're responsible for half of all goods and services, half of the US workforce. 95% or so have less than 20 employees, but small businesses create over 75% of new jobs. That's how important it is. So of 100 jobs that created in the US, 75 came from small businesses. That's a really important thing if we're going to grow our economy, because big businesses always start out as small businesses. A small business is risky. The startup is risk, but as I said, with the proper coaching and guiding, you should well be successful. And I know you've all heard the numbers that 50% of businesses are gone after 5 years. But to the best of my knowledge, none of those ever had a SCORE mentor. Now think about this for a minute. Think about the Olympics. Summer Olympics are coming up this summer, so I'm psyched for the Summer Olympics. So the Summer Olympics has the best athletes in the world. I mean, the best. They are at the top of their game. Every single one of them. Every single athlete at the Summer Olympics has a coach. So what they know as athletes is to have a coach is to be very successful. Us small businesses can learn something from that. That if we want to be successful, maybe we should have a coach. So why do businesses fail? Well, the number one reason is they run out of money. They run out of money for a lot of reasons. Maybe the owner or the manager just can't manage others, missed estimating all the costs, doesn't understand cash flow. What does cash flow mean? And how important is that to the business? Because when you run out of money, you're out of business. So knowing all that is very, very important in your small business. But there are a lot of reasons why you want to be in a small business. I currently own 4, and I love it. It's true. There are a lot of reasons not to start your business. If you're the right person with the right business, you get to be your own boss. You're going to work hard, longer hours than you probably ever worked before, but all that work benefits you. You take home the profits. You take home all the benefits. If the business grows, your profits increase. You increase those profits for you, not for someone else. Your growth is never limited. So you can't wait for the boss to retire to get his job. You are the boss. So you're only limited by your willingness to grow that business. And it's exciting because small businesses, you're doing everything. You get involved in everything, every aspect of the business. They'll challenge you, grow you, and keep you excited about the business. So if that doesn't excite you, and it does excite you, where would you start? Where would you start? So first place to start is talk with your business coach or advisor. Is this business right for you? So this has to be a business where you're excited about it, where you bounce out of bed Monday morning and say, I can't wait to get into my business. It meets whatever your personal goals are. How much money do you want? Is this something you're going to retire with? You're going to sell it? How much time do you have to do it? It also should be one that uses your experience. So, case of me, I've been eating in restaurants all my life. My folks used to take me when I was a baby. I couldn't run a restaurant because I've never run one. I understand there's the front of the house and the back of the house, but I don't cook. I've never served. So it would be a real problem for me to run a restaurant. If you've got a passion for it, you're excited about it, you've got experience in it, go for it. And make sure that whatever that business is, it's one that's needed. Is it needed where you're going to put your business? So, for example, you wouldn't want to put a hamburger stand across the street from McDonald's. Um, in the same way, you would want to put one out in the middle of the farm country. So you need to find out where the competition is and what's the best place to go. Where do you want to put your business? If you're a home-based business, then you can reach probably anybody in the country. So that makes it real easy. You should think about, along with your coach, where are your strengths? What strengths do you have? Are they in the numbers, in finance? Are they in product and service? Are they in marketing? Where are you strong? And if you have some areas where you're not so strong, let's get some help. Let's find you somebody that can help you. If you're not strong in finance, well, let's find a bookkeeper. If you're not strong in marketing, let's find somebody that knows marketing to help you. So that personal assessment becomes important so that you're a rounded person, that you've got capabilities in all the important areas of your business. Whether you do it yourself or whether you get some help to do it, make sure that you've got all bases covered. After you've decided on what the business is, do some research. Lots of ways to do research, but research is really important to deciding whether this is the right business for you. One of my favorite examples is I had a client who was going to build a storage facility. You've seen them. You drive in, put your key in the lock, open up your garage door, put your stuff in there, stuff that won't fit in your attic or your garage or your basement. You store it there. You've seen them. There are rows and rows of these little storage garages that you put your stuff in. So he was going to build another one. So he said, well, let's do some research to see if this might be needed. And so his task, his homework, was to put a little red dot on a map every place where there was one of these little storage facilities. So he looked on the online yellow pages, he drove around the block, he did research, he did internet searches. And when you stood back and looked at that map, there were red dots everywhere. It was surprising how many of these were. Some are right off the road, some are hidden kind of around in the back, but they were everywhere. So the question becomes, should we have another one? Can the market afford another one? And so the plan was he would make 5 phone calls to storage facilities around the area and ask the question, do you have any open space? Do you have any open storage? If the answer for all 5 was no, we don't have any open storage, then obviously there's a need for some more. If every one of them said, oh, we got plenty of room, come on in, come in today, we'll give you a discount, please, please come in, we got plenty of space. That's exactly what all 5 said. So we concluded that there was just way more capacity than we needed. So building another one just might not be profitable. The other side of that coin was another client who was going to build a drive-through beverage. I'm sure you've seen them. You drive up, you drive into the little covered area, you buy a pack of Sick Mokes or a lottery ticket or a sandwich or a sick pack, and you drive back out again. And he had the spot all picked out, looked like a good spot. And we looked at the county traffic statistics. And we looked at how many cars drove by his facility every single day. Then we got out our pencil, ran the math. So of 100 cars, of that 100 cars that went by, how many would have to stop for him to break even? Knowing how many cars actually went by in a day, but just make it simple. For every 100 cars that drove by, how many would have to stop in and buy something from him for him to break even? When we ran the numbers, we were shocked. It was 1. If 1 car out of 100 stopped, he would break even. If 2 cars drove by, stopped in, he would make money. I stopped by his little drive-through beverage on a Friday evening in the middle of the afternoon when the manufacturing plants had let out. The cars were backed up out in the street. I mean, he couldn't sell stuff out of there fast enough. He had 3 people working. They couldn't sell it fast enough. So when things calmed down, I said, "You making money?" He just smiled. So that's the value of research. It can tell you what you should do and maybe what you shouldn't do. So once you've decided that's a good business, you need to think about what is the legal structure of your business. We have another webinar that talks about each one of these in detail. But in terms of the legal structure to your business, the only thing that matters is legal liability and taxes. Legal liability says what happens if the wheels come off the bus, who is responsible, and how do you pay your taxes? So in the case of sole proprietorships or partnerships, the responsibility for the liability if the wheel comes off the bus falls on the partners or the owner. In corporations, it falls upon the corporation, so you are personally protected from any liability for that. That corporation is the wall between you and the outside world. So for example, I had a client who was a piano teacher. So she'd come to your home and teach your child to play piano on your piano in your living room. And because that's hardly no risk at all, you're probably not going to sue her because the kid can't play piano. She formed a sole proprietorship, worked fine. Her business grew and her business grew and her business grew. And pretty soon she said, if I had those people come to my house using my piano, I could see a lot more students because I just cut down the travel time. That made a lot of sense. But now you've got people walking up your slippery walk, possibly tripping on your rug in your hallway. Who knows what could happen in the driveway? So now she formed a corporation to protect her from anything that might happen when people are coming to her home in any time of day, whatever that was, winter, summer. So she was protected. So that's how that works. In the case of taxes, a partnership or sole proprietorship, you pay taxes right on your 1040. So it goes right to you. It goes on your personal taxes. It can't get any simpler than that. In the case of corporations, there can be some complications, so it's a little more complicated. But if that complication is worth reducing your risk to zero, then you probably should do it. So you've got it. You know what the business is. You've done your research. You think it's a good idea. You're going to form your corporation. Go to the business.ohio.gov/starting. That's a great resource. You can find all kinds of things out. You can see if your business needs a license. You can register your name. You can apply for an employer EIN. It'll tell you how to do that with the IRS. See if there's legal requirements. You can register with the Ohio Department of Taxation if your business requires sales taxes. So there's a lot of things you can do with that website. So that's a great place to get started. Of course, you should have a SCORE advisor, SCORE mentor. So you should do that, but you can do this yourself if you want. It's always nice to have an advisor. You should also get yourself a team of professionals. They don't have to be on your payroll, but people you could call if you have a question, like an attorney. If you've got some legal questions, you should have him in your phone so you can call him. Your business probably will need insurance, so you should have an insurance agent. Of course, you're going to need a banker. If you're really good at taxes, then maybe you don't need a CPA. But if you're not, then maybe you should get a CPA or an accountant or a bookkeeper. If you're going to do IT like websites, maybe you're going to need some IT help, marketing and other things. And of course, don't forget to get your mentor advisor, including SCORE. And our SCORE advising, two things you need to know about that. First of all, it's free, no charge, and it's confidential. So anything you tell your SCORE advisor stays with your SCORE advisor. So you can talk about your personal finances or anything you need to talk about to make your business successful, and your SCORE advisor is there to help. If you're going to start your business in your home, that's a great place to start because now you don't have rent to pay on some kind of a building. But always, always check with the zoning department of your city, township, or wherever you are to see if they allow home-based businesses. Some don't care. They're silent. They don't say anything about it. Others care a lot. If you're going to have a home-based business, your renter's insurance and your homeowner's insurance does not cover your business. It covers you in your home or your apartment or the goods in your home or apartment. It does not cover your business. So you will need some kind of business insurance. The same is true of auto insurance. That you currently have covers you and your car for liability and collision and so forth, but it does not cover you or your car if you're using that for business. So, for example, if you're delivering flowers in your van, you are not covered during the time when you're delivering those flowers by your regular automobile insurance. You need a special kind of insurance. So the defining factor is if you're making money with your vehicle, then you need special business coverage. If you're just using it to get to and from work, to and from a client, to and from a customer, whatever, that's fine. You're covered with your regular insurance. But if not, if you're making money with the use of your car, like delivering something, transporting people, you need special insurance. Another question is, ask yourself, do you want employees and customers at your home? And the answer to that may be, no, I don't. Or, sure, I don't care. Do you want deliveries to come to your house? That may be fine with you, it may not be fine with the neighbors. So if you're in doubt, check the IRS publication 587. You can find that at irs.gov, and it will give you some advice on home-based businesses. Now, my favorite story is my two sons. They're in the in-ground swimming pool business. And if you know anything about in-ground swimming pools, you got to dig a lot of dirt out of that hole. And where do they store the equipment? In front of their house, in the driveway. Big yellow earth-moving equipment. And they ran the business out of their home. And one day, the zoning inspector was driving by, and he says, "Oh, what's this?" Comes, knocks on their door and said, "Hey, guys, what you doing?" They said, "Well, we're moving dirt for our in-ground swimming pool business." And he said, "Do you know that this little township prohibits home-based businesses that have big yellow pieces of equipment parked in their front yard? This is residential. You can't do that." "Ooh," they said, "we're sorry." He said, "So by the way, the fine is $500 a day starting tomorrow." They had to scramble to get that stuff out of the front yard. And they called me. That's how I know. And said, "Can we put this stuff in your front yard?" I said, "Absolutely not. No, I live in the same township you do." So just check with zoning if you're going to have a home-based business. Okay, let me stop, take a breath, take a sip of coffee before we get on to part number 4. See if anybody has any questions at this point.
All right, everybody, anybody have questions? You can type them in the chat, the Q&A, or you can raise your hand.
Boy, I must be that good. No questions. Wow.
I know it, right?
Oh, smoke. I'm going to ask my boss for a raise. Oh, wait a minute. I don't get paid. I'm a
There we
volunteer.
go. We have one, Destiny. I changed it so you can talk. So you can unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I don't know if I'm jumping too far ahead or not, but I was looking at being a broker for a box truck. Me and my son's father wanted to go into business with a box truck. Would that still be like, as far as doing things on your property with getting the publication 587, going on there and looking at that zoning information and stuff, would that still be considered, like heavy equipment, or no, because it's like a box truck?
If you're making money
Mm-hmm.
in your business, then that's a business. It doesn't matter what. So the defining factor for zoning is, do you make money with this business?
Okay.
If the answer is yes, then if the zoning prohibits home-based businesses, then you can't do that.
So like even as far as the vehicles, not just the home-based business. Where I'm located, we can do home-based business. I mean, as far as I know, you said that your sons were digging up things with major equipment. I don't have necessarily major equipment, but would there be like restrictions to say to a bigger vehicle other than my standard USV? Does that make sense or no?
Yes.
Okay.
So the vehicle, the box truck, is used in the business. every township is different. So I would check with your township people. Some will say you can have a home-based business provided it's only inside the home.
Okay.
So, I could do an internet business and make money inside of my house. Some will say you can't do it at all because it's residential. And some will say you can do it inside, but you can't have vehicles parked outside. So
Okay.
the zoning people are very, very helpful. They've always been very helpful.
Okay.
Right. Another question is, what's the best time to reach out for mentor? Always reach out sooner rather than later. The sooner you reach out for a mentor, even if you're just in the, I'm thinking about this, it's always a good time to reach out for a mentor. I would much rather have you come and talk with me too soon rather than too late. Is the EIN number typically the same for both state and federal level of government? The answer is yes. The EIN number, the employer identification number, is the business equivalent of your Social Security number. Your Social Security number identifies you as the taxpayer. The EIN identifies the business as the taxpayer. So it covers the business, whether it's federal taxes, state taxes, local taxes, anything, bank loans, whatever it is. If you go to loan to borrow money for your house, they want your Social Security number. If you go to the bank and borrow money for your business, they're going to want the EIN. So it's just the tax identification number for the business. I want to sell products. Explain the proprietorship more. Can't I just have a vendor's license and pay taxes on that? The answer is no. You must have the business legally registered in the state. When I talk about legally structuring the business, I have a structure called the bootleg, and that's an all cash business. And it looks like the lemonade stand you used to have on the corner. Your mom made the lemonade, you sold it, put the money in your pocket, never paid taxes. That's a bootleg business. Legally, if you're going to have a real business, you need to have it registered with the state of Ohio to legally do business in the state of Ohio. And the reason for that is when you pay taxes, or if you want to open a bank account, so somebody writes you a check made out to the name of the business, the bank won't open a bank account for you without you having it registered with the state. So the answer is yes, you do. If you're going to have a legal business, you need to register it with the state of Ohio. And when you take out the EIN with the IRS, that effectively registers it with the federal government. So you got all bases covered. Good questions. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think that's it.
Okay. So as you start your business, one of the things you're going to do is have a business plan. And this is where you do all of the work and all of the thinking on paper before you start the business. So anybody that's ever built a house says you've got blueprints. Somebody drew them up and they're building the house to the blueprint. It's a plan. So you can see, for example, the house, how much wood do I need? How many nails do I need? How much flooring do I need? How much roofing do I need? So you have all that stuff planned out and costed before you start building the house to make sure you don't run out of money. The same is true with a business plan. It's your blueprint for getting the business started. It should be a written document, just like the blueprint for your house is a written document. You should update it as you change it. The last business that my son and I started, we were on version number 9 of the business plan before we ever went to the bank for money. So it's kind of a living document. You do a little bit of it and you rewrite it and you think about it some more and you update it a little more. It's a living document and it should cover the most important aspects of your business. That's where I suggest you get a SCORE mentor to help you. I've seen a lot of templates online. Those templates try to cover everything for every possible business. And most of that stuff you probably won't need. So I've had people use those templates and they get so confused because there's some stuff they don't need. They don't understand why they have to have it. The template doesn't help you. I would start with a business advisor, SCORE otherwise. This business plan is a communication tool, particularly if you have investors or you're going to go to the bank. When you walk in the front door of the bank and said, I would like a business loan, the first question you will get asked is, do you have a business plan? If the answer is yes, come on in, sit right down. If you don't, then they'll say, please get a business plan and come back. So it's a very important document. It should not be your life's work. It's not 100 pages. It's not 50 pages. It's not 25 pages. I've seen really good business plans in a dozen pages or less. So you put down the things you really need to put down and think about and have analyzed. That's all. No more, no less. When you write it, it should show you what your business needs. Like, for example, how much cash do I need to run the business? It should spot problems, because you can see if the pricing is wrong or the margins are too thin or the costs are too high. It's important to stakeholders that you understand what the market's like, especially if you're borrowing money from a bank. You should identify all of your costs. And the biggest problem in a startup is missing some cost. Oops, I didn't think about this. I forgot it. Uh-oh, now I'm out of money. Where did that money come from? So make sure you identify all the costs. Again, we talked earlier about, at least you've identified your strengths and weaknesses and areas where you need support. And with that, you can make a go, no-go decision on paper. The time to find out that it doesn't work is not when you put a whole bunch of your money into it. Time to figure that out is on paper before you start the business. And your SCORE business advisor SCORE mentor can help you do that. So some of the things you want to think about is, what's the purpose for your business? And what does success mean? We said that earlier. Is it, what do you want to do? Is this going to be, you're going to quit your full-time job? Is this going to be a hobby? Is this going to be weekends? Is it going to be something your kids are going to take over? What's success look like to you? What's the business look like 2, 3, 4, 5 years out? Take the business planning 101 course and see what a business plan looks like. Do your industry research, your market research we talked about, and start drafting your plan. Then you get yourself a SCORE advisor. And I would rather you came with a 20% business plan and we can finish it up, rather than somebody comes with a 90% business plan and half of it they didn't need. So get yourself a SCORE advisor to help you through that, because that will get you to where you need to go the quickest and easiest possible way. So the table of contents, the business plan, you have a table of contents, of course, executive summary, and then all the important parts of the plan, your operating plan, what are the products and services, what's the company going to do, who's the management, who's the advisor, all of the expenses, the startup expenses, capitalization expenses, ongoing expenses, and your final financial plan. And over here on the right, it says usually somewhere between 6 and 12 pages. So this is not your life's work, but it's thoughtful. It's 6 to 12 really thoughtful pages. So business plan questions.
We'll wait a couple of minutes so people have time to type. I don't see any questions, Al.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about financials. We're going to talk about money. And if you're running a small business, you must understand the financials of the business. If it's your business, nobody cares about the financials of the business more than you. Your bookkeeper won't care. Your CPA won't care. The person that cares the most, that should care the most, is you. And so again, your SCORE advisor can talk you through the financials. For a small business, they're usually very, very, very simple. I got a client, bought the business from his father. He said, I think I need a strategic plan. And I said, okay, let's do that, but let's start with the financials of your business. And he said, well, why? I said, well, because we need to know how your business is doing today and what you need to go, what you want to do in the future. He says, well, I don't understand him. So he's had the business for 15 years, bought it from his father, doesn't have any idea about the financials. He gets an annual report from his CPA, and he doesn't look at it. He has no idea how the business is doing. It's kind of like, if there's money in the bank, I guess I'm doing okay. And what we quickly found out is, for a business like his, he wasn't making nearly the profit he should have been making. So he'd been running the business for his 10 or 15 years that he bought it from his dad, making about 10, 15, 14, 12, 9% profit. He is a business that should be making at least 25% profit. So he's been leaving 15% on the table every year. And we figured out why. Now he understands the financials, and he's doing extremely well financially, extremely well. So if you're going to start a business, the question you ask is, where's the money going to come from? So let's talk about the ways to finance your business: the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I've left all of those on the list because I want to talk about the good and the bad and the ugly. A good place to start is if you've got personal savings. It was a great place to start because it's your money. You don't have to answer to anybody. I don't, however, recommend that you put more than a third of whatever your personal savings are into the business. If you've got a home, you may say, well, why don't I get a home equity loan? Bad idea. Bad idea. Because if business, by some chance, folds up, you could end up without a job, without a business, and without a home. You could be homeless. That's the worst of all worlds. So that's a bad idea. If you could get a cosigner, maybe a family member or somebody that will co-sign for you, that's a great way. Banks love that because now they've got two people on the hook for the money. So banks love that. That's a great idea. Loan from family or friends, the 3 F's, the family, friends, and fools. If you can get money from them, you've all heard the story. Well, Uncle George lent so-and-so $500 and now they're a millionaire. If you can do that, that's great. That's a great place to, again, get money. Credit card is the ugly. That is the worst possible way to get money to start your business. It's the most expensive. And you know, credit card, you've seen your credit cards, and those credit card and fees and everything else can be as much as 25% on a not so great credit card. So that's a really not only bad idea, it's an ugly idea. Please, please do not use your credit card as a way of financing your business. If you're going to buy it, if you're going to use your credit card to buy stuff and then sell it and pay the credit card off every month, that's okay. But to borrow money for improvements to your business or for marketing for your business, bad idea. Bad idea. Bank financing is the least expensive way to borrow money. But the banks in today's world are requiring anywhere from 700 up credit score. North of 740, you're really good shape, and they will require 20% of your money down first. Very similar, if you ever bought a home, you got to put equity in, you got to put your money into. They won't finance 100% of your home, usually. And I have not talked to a bank in the 12 years that I've been doing this that will give you a 0% down bank loan to start your business. They just don't do that. Bottom right-hand corner, score tip. If you have a business bank account, have a business credit card. Do not use your personal accounts, because having a bank account and a bank credit card, or a business account and a business credit card, you keep that separation between you and the outside world. That protects you with that corporate wall. If you're using your personal money or your personal credit card, then you kind of blur that line, and a good lawyer will blur it far enough that they'll bust right through that corporate wall. So make sure you have your separate accounts. To get a separate account, you're going to need an EIN. To get an EIN, you're going to need to have it registered with the state of Ohio. So there's another way of looking at it for the person that asked that question before. So you're going to the bank, which is the most popular and the least expensive way to borrow. They're going to look for a business plan. They're going to look at your personal finances. So they'll probably want 3 years of tax returns. They'll want to talk about credit score. And they'll want to talk about your debt to equity ratio. In other words, how much are you worth minus how much you owe? And they'll look at that number and said, that looks pretty good. That'll be compared to the amount of money you want to buy. And a good banker can talk you through that. The worst thing that could happen was you borrow money you can't pay back. So when a bank turns somebody down, I personally believe that's good news, because there's a reason why they turned them down, that maybe they can't make the payments. So a good banker will prevent you from doing something that you'll be sorry for. Every small business needs to know what their costs are. What are my cost of the goods, the things that I incur to make, create, sell my products? What are my other operating expenses, rent, taxes, utilities, internet, phone? If I have employees, salaries, benefits, and all my startup costs, how much am I going to have to put into the business to get it started? Initial inventory, maybe, initial website, marketing, all the things I need to do. And as I said before, leaving out some cost because you forgot it is a killer. That is just death on wheels. So that's why you want to get your SCORE advisor to look over it with you, talk through it, make sure you've got all of your costs captured. In any small business, cash is king, because when you run out of cash, you run out of business. Cash is the lifeblood of the business. That's what pumps through the veins of a business. If you can't control your cash, like you have people owe you money that are bad risks, you can run out of cash. Maybe your margin is too thin, you didn't price it right, or your costs are too high. You didn't think about all the costs, the startup costs, the operating costs, and those are killers. So you should always know how much cash you have. So let's talk about that for a second. So cash, because cash is king, is the amount of money you have in the bank plus your accounts receivable, which is the money people owe you, and the accounts payable, which is the money you owe other people. So if you sell stuff on credit or they run a tab, that's your receivable. If you borrow money or you borrow product or put it on your credit card, that's somebody you owe money to. So you need to know what that is. So if you've got $1,000 in cash, but you put $1,000 worth of product on your credit card, you don't have any cash. You're zero cash. And I said, if you don't pay the whole credit card off, then now that's the most expensive money you can possibly borrow. So you don't want to do that. So let's look at these individually and see what that would tell you. And if you were my client and you were starting up your business, the first thing we would do at the end of every month is we'd say, how much cash do you have? And we'd compare that to the month before, and the month before, and the month before. So if the amount of cash you have is going up, that's good. If it's about the same, that's probably okay. Not bad, it's not good, it's just okay. But if the amount of cash you have is going down, and this is the third month in a row that it's going down, we got a problem. So we need to talk about that because that's a trend that is not a good one, and sooner or later you're going to run out of money. So let's do some further analysis. Now let's look at the money you might have in the bank. If the money in the bank is going up, that's good. If it's flat, same as last 3 or 4 months, that's okay. But if the amount of money in the bank's going down, that's not good. That says we got a problem here. We got to figure that out. So this is your early warning system to know how your business is doing, if it's going well or if it's in trouble. And I've looked at businesses that have gone out of business, and the warning signs were there as early as a year before they went out of business. Sometimes even 18 months. If you look back at their books, their finances, you could say, we knew we were in trouble 18 months ago or 12 months ago. So it doesn't come up and sneak up behind you and all of a sudden you're doing well this month, the next month you're out of business. It doesn't happen like that. It's a very relatively slow process. So if you watch the these kind of numbers, you can see it coming. Your score mentor can see it coming, and you both can see it coming and do something about it to fix it. So let's look at our accounts receivable, the money that people owe us. If it's going up, that may be because your business is growing. So you're providing credit to customers to keep those customers, and you have more sales, you have more accounts receivable. That's okay. That might be good, but it might not. If that's going up and your business isn't growing, then what that means is your customers are using your money to finance their business. Bad idea. If it's flat, that's okay if your business is flat. But if it's going down, that's probably a good thing. So you don't, people don't owe you money. People owing you money is not the best position to be in. So a cash business is great. If they pay by their credit card, that's great. If they run a tab, you got to think about that really, really hard. I had a client owned a lumber yard. He was selling lumber to home builders, contractors on credit. And then 2008 hit. And you know what happened to the housing market in 2008? It died. His contractors walked away owing him over $30,000. And they went out of business. So he was stuck with $30,000 in bad debt. So all of a sudden, $30,000 that he thought was going to be turn into cash sooner or later turns to a loss. It's never going to come back. And if you think about the profit margin on lumber, it's not that much. So he doesn't need $30,000 worth of sales. He needs more like $150,000 to $200,000 worth of sales to break even on that debt. So you want to watch those receivables really well. Same way with the payables, the amount of money that you owe other people. If that's going up, maybe your business is growing, so you're putting more money on the credit card to buy more product, to do more sales, that's fine. If it's flat, it's probably okay. And if it's going down, that's probably good. You owe less and less money on whatever you're doing. So cash is king. Watch the cash. Look at it every month. And I said, if you're my client and you're starting up your business, we're going to look at that the first of every month. My first question when we get together is, how much cash do you have? So stop, breathe her again. Questions on cash and cash flow.
All right, everybody. Type away those questions. I don't see any yet, Al.
Okay, well then we'll move along. So all of this is all good. You're up and running, but marketing is what brings the customers to you. So this is a very important part of any business, is the marketing. How do customers come to you? Selling is where you go sell the customer. Marketing is where the customers come to you. So the starting point for any marketing program is the customer and the persona of that customer. So you should have a persona for each customer, for every one. That identifies that specific customer. It's developed for that customer. You can have more than one, but it's unique as you can make it for each and every customer, because that becomes the basis for every marketing, any marketing campaign, any marketing plan. It's the persona of that ideal customer. Let me give you an example. Al's Bike Shop. Al's going to sell bikes to left-handed female bike riders, professional women between the ages of 25 and 45 who own their own home and preferably college educated. And you say, well, that's really specific. Yes, it is. But when that woman hears the marketing message, she says to herself, boy, Al knows everything about me. He knows why I ride, what's important to me when I ride. And if I need a bike, I'm going to go to Al's Bike Shop. That doesn't mean if the woman page 60 walks in, I won't sell her a bike, or I won't sell her a bike. But that's not the target market for this persona. So what do you know about this rider, for example? At 25 to 45, there's a good chance she's riding for sport or exercise. So she wants to ride fast, she wants to ride long, she wants to ride hard, and she wants a bike that supports that. Because she owns her own home, she values ownership because Al's bikes ain't cheap. And if you've ever ridden a bike with handbrakes, ask yourself which brake controls the front versus the rear brake, left hand, right hand. Most of us never pay attention because the bikes are built for right-handed riders. The answer to the question is your right hand, because it's the dominant and stronger hand, controls the back brake. So in a panic stop, you clamp down on with both hands as hard as you can. The rear brake stops a little quicker than the front brake because you're right-handed. That's exactly what you wanted. But for that 10% of people that are left-handed, that's a problem. That is a problem. You just can't switch it because the cables are different lengths. And if you don't know that and you clamp down with your left hand and the front brake stops the front wheel, guess who's going over the handlebars? So a left-handed rider knows the importance of bike designed for left-handed riders. So that's where that persona helps you know something about the rider or about the customer and what's important to them and why they're riding, because it helps create the marketing message. You also, as you think about marketing, you need to talk about the product, the price, the promotion, and where it's going to be. So that's the product is the actual good or service, and how does it meet the end user's needs? So I just said, if we know who that end user is, that customer, that female left-handed rider, I know how to meet their needs. You can set the price based on what the value is to them. You then know how to promote it in terms of the marketing message. You also have a good idea where they get their information, your customer, where you can present that, and know how you're going to reach that market and reach them where the product is going to be. And I will tell you, Amazon has figured that place out really, really smartly because they bring it right to your front door. What a clever idea. Sometimes, not always, sometimes it's important to understand the competition. You know, what do they sell? Who are they? How do they compete? What's different about them? What is your advantage and what's your specific market niche? What do you have that they don't have that makes you different and special? And so if you know that, that becomes part of your marketing plan. The promotion requires thinking about building your brand right from the first day. Brand is a powerful thing. It involves the total customer experience. If you change the word promise for brand, you see what brand really means. Brand is that promise you make to the customer that whatever it is you have, they will get it the first time, second time, third time, every time, last time. They get that same thing. Think about the McDonald's brand. You can walk into a McDonald's store anywhere in the world, and I have, and the French fries taste exactly the same way. Their brand promise. Scotch tape, same thing. 3M sticky notes, same thing. They promise they're going to work the way they work every time, every time. And the other part of that whole product or service is the experience. That total customer experience is really important. If you go to a restaurant, the food is great, but the service is horrible, you're probably not going back. So a great product is necessary, but not sufficient. That experience has to go along with it. There are some thinkers today that believe that the experience is going to be where the future of business is, and that people are going to pay for experience. If you don't believe that, find out how much a 3-day pass at Disney World is, or a 1-day pass in Vail, Colorado to go skiing. They're outrageously expensive. You get nothing for that. You get no product, you get no service, you have an experience. You pay for that experience. So make sure that you know what that customer's experience is. And again, we have a webinar on that customer experience. Make sure that you're consistent in your identity. Wherever you have your brand, your logo, your products, your brochure, website, that it's the same. So you're very recognizable. And that logo and signage and name helps people understand what you do. So you must be consistent, or no people will think it's separate companies. So being consistent is very important. How are you going to promote it? A lot of ways to promote your product, to increase your sales, referrals, networking, marketing, cold calling, lots of ways to do that. Let me talk about price, if I can. Every market looks like this, where the number of potential customers is the most at the lowest price. How might that work? So the fewest number of customers is at the peak, the highest price, the most number of customers is at the bottom. So Anne and Bob are twins. Anne was born first. So she has Anne's concierge lawn care service. They sell only by the season. They manicure your lawn, they trim it, they fertilize it, they make it look beautiful. Her brother Bob, on the other hand, calls his business Bob Cuts. And Bob cuts your grass. That's all he does. There's no manicuring, no fertilizing, no trimming, no nothing. He just cuts your grass. Interestingly enough, Anne and Bob make about the same amount of money. Anne has a fraction of the customers that Bob has. Bob doesn't spend any time on anything but cutting your grass. Truck pulls up, lawnmower comes off, cut the grass, lawnmower goes back on the truck, truck's gone. Anne's team comes out, cuts your grass, manicures it, blows it, weeds it, trims it, makes it look beautiful. Both models work. You just need to decide, where do you want to be in that pricing pyramid? You want to have a lot of customers down at the bottom, like a Kmart or a Walmart, or you want to have fewer customers, like a Mercedes-Benz dealer? So where do you want to be in that? There's a lot of ways to decide on that. And there's a whole webinar on pricing strategies. But some things to think about is, what's the market price currently? What does a customer value? And if you stand in Starbucks line and watch people pay $5, $10, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9 for a cup of coffee, for Pete's sake, they're paying for value and the experience. You can bundle. I'm sure you've heard the bundling commercial, where you bundle your home, car, motorcycle, boat insurance together, and you get a discount, and maybe some promotions. So think about that price. In terms of the management of your business, if you're going to have customers, make sure you know how to lead them, motivate them, pass the passion on to them, make them feel important, give them responsibility. Make sure the job is a place where people want to work. I have a client I'm working with, and I talked to her this morning. She's got a job she hates the business, hates the company, hates the people, just really doesn't like it. She's gone. You don't want that to be you. You want people to love to come to work for you. You develop your great employees. Make sure they have job descriptions, know what's expected of them, train them, follow up, because that employee is your first line of defense. That's the first person the customer sees, either in person or on the phone or whatever. They're the first person handling the price question. And make sure that they understand that you're watching, because people respect what the boss inspects. Hire great employees, because they're your front line. They're the people that your customer is going to see. So, for example, Anne, the concierge, they wear uniforms. Where Bob Cuts, he doesn't care. He doesn't even require him to wear a shirt. So they may show up with a dirty T-shirt, yesterday's T-shirt, old T-shirt, no T-shirt at all. But it's that public image. It's very different in how you're doing it. You should always check their previous employment. Consider is it part-time, full-time, whatever. Okay, what to do next? And then I'll answer questions. What do we do next? Make sure you get the business that's right for you. That's number one, something you get excited about. Go to the checklist for starting a new business. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Choose your legal business structure. Go to the Business Ohio Gov starting your business website. Begin on your business plan. Get your maybe sign up for a SCORE business plan workshop and request some time with a SCORE advisor. Okay. I will answer questions as you have them. Thank you very much for attending. If you have no questions and don't want to stick around, class is dismissed. But I will stick around to answer questions if you want, if you wish.
All right, Al, we already have a question here. Do you feel email marketing is a good strategy?
The question isn't, is email marketing a good strategy? The question is, what does your ideal customer want? You start with that persona. So if your ideal customer is a person that uses email, then that's a fine idea. If you were marketing to my mother, not so much. I have a brother that doesn't even own a computer. So you need to understand that customer and design your marketing to match the customer.
All right, anybody else? We have a few minutes. We're in no rush, so feel free to ask questions. Oh, no.
You're very welcome. Somebody just sent me a thank you note.
I saw it.
Yeah,
Thank you for your time.
you're very welcome. If you like this webinar and you're thinking of starting your business, please attend some others. They're also free.
They are. We have a lot coming up. We have 4 in February. Al here is actually doing 3 of those. He'll be covering marketing, megatrends, and pricing. And then our favorite, Heather Taylor, she always does our social media ones. They're always popular. She's doing one on the 15th, social media plans. Those are all going to be live tomorrow to register for. And then in March, we actually have, as of right now, we're going to have 5 webinars, but you will also be able to, on the website, you can also attend other chapters and from around the country where you can actually participate in the workshop. All right, wonderful presentation. Yes, I am sending out the slide deck. We actually don't really offer, our chapter does not usually do webinars in the evenings or weekends. We are in the process of starting to record our webinars. Other chapters are recording and they're on the website, so that's a good way to access them when you're not at your regular job or busy with kids. Yes, so you will be getting the email later today from me, and I don't see any raised hands. Oh, wait, we have one. Can you go back over the 4 Ps? I missed one. Great presentation and presenter.
The 4 Ps: product, price, promotion, and place. So product is the product or service. Price is price. Promotion is how you're going to market it. And the placement is, you're going to bring it to me, you have me come to you. How's that going to work? In Al's bike shop, clearly you got to come to my bike shop. But Amazon delivers it right to your door. So you want to think about that.
All right, that looks like it's about all. Al's phone's ringing over there, so he must have some work to do. Okay, everybody, thank you for participating and asking all your questions. Like Al said earlier, we really do love the interaction. And that is it for us. So thank you again for coming, everybody. Al, thank you so much.